Welcome back, folks. Today we're going to go through everything you need to know about anomalies and artifacts in STALKER 2. What are they, where you can find them, how to use and combine those artifacts, and much more. So let's begin. Anomalies in STALKER are one of the most important aspects of the game. They are created in the zone and are this weird combination of noosphere in a sense and energy. They come in different shapes, sizes and types. On the road, you will come across various ones to time and space anomalies, gravitational, push and pull, as well as with different bases like electro, fire, acid, and even ones which are like shards of glass that cut you in the case you go through them. Those ones are very scary actually. For most stalkers, and well, you running into an anomaly will most certainly drop 90% of your HP, and if you are hurt, running into one will result in certain death, unless you have protection, which I will cover in the second part of this video. And also a fun thing when it comes to mutants, you can actually push them through anomalies, which is going to well help you along the way because you don't have to waste ammo on them. But be careful, because in STALKER 2, mutants are actually avoiding anomalies and are not just getting into them like in previous games. Now, artifacts on the other side are formed from anomalies, and because of the zone, they are changed to provide different buffs and debuffs for your character when you equip them. To be honest, artifacts and what they give and take had a bit more depth in previous games, where you could really combine them for some unique builds. In STALKER 2, how they work has been slightly changed, so let me explain. Right now there are two main types of artifacts, as I like to call them. Ones that give out radiation, as well as different buffs like carry capacity, protection against bleeding, various effects from other anomalies and so on, while giving away radiation. Now, in previous STALKER games, not every artifact was giving radiation, so this was actually a huge change. And then the other type, which can give buffs, but most importantly, will provide radiation protection. So you can use other artifacts that emit radiation because they will cancel each other out. For example, let's look at one of the most powerful and rarest artifacts in STALKER 2, that being liquid rock that I was lucky enough to find in garbage. This artifact gives maximum radiation and chemical protection, meaning that once I put this on, I will get additional protection in the world, as well as being able to put artifacts in my pouch that give out radiation because, well, it won't hurt me. In case I just place this artifact, for example, you will see that over time my radiation will go up and it will accumulate. So we can see here another example of cavity, which gives bleeding resistance, weight increase, as well as weak radiation. And because my other artifact gives maximum protection, I can freely upgrade, for more slots and just place them in the other ones and I will be safe. But in the case I find an artifact which gives, let's say, weak radiation protection, that would mean I can only place one more artifact which gives out weak radiation to cancel them out. If I place an artifact with medium or high radiation and I only have protection from weak radiation, I will get those buffs, but it won't be enough to stop radiation from building up. So long story short, always combine artifacts with similar strengths and weaknesses, because otherwise they won't cancel each other out, and the problem is you will always suffer from radiation. To find anomalies, you must venture out into anomalous areas, because only in increased anomalous, strengths you will have artifacts for. You can easily recognize them by seeing a lot of anomalies on one place. It's going to be like a group of anomalies. Usually that will signal that maybe there's an artifact in them. To find an artifact, you will use bolts and a detector. In STALKER 2 you have two beeping sounds though, one telling you how close you are to an anomaly, similar to a car sensor telling you if you're close to a wall so that you don't hit it. But detector will have its own beep, and in case there is an artifact nearby, it will start flashing and beeping. The stronger the flashing and beeping, the closer you are to the artifact, and once it basically starts going crazy, you are close and the only thing you have to do is look around, because it's going to be around you. You also have to be careful moving around the field, as in, these areas, if you hit an anomaly, there is a high chance you will activate another one and it will be game over. Some anomalies, for example, like the electro anomaly and so on, you can use a bolt on them and they will be, kinda depleted for about 1 to 2 seconds, giving you an ability to quickly pass through them before they reactivate, and that's actually going to be one of the ways you get artifacts, or get through an anomalous field, by using a bolt and depleting that anomaly so you can pass. When you get close, an artifact will appear and start moving around, so you should catch it as soon as it appears. Once you have it in your inventory, you don't have to worry about its effects until you equip it, because it won't be giving out radiation in your backpack. At least I never saw it happen, and I usually walk around with 4 to 5 of them until I go to my stash. Now, after some time has passed, you can return to the same area to collect another artifact. I don't know if this works on every single anomalous field, but I know for some locations I was just able to collect an artifact, wait a few days, and then go back and I can basically get another one. Artifacts also vary in rarity, meaning that most common ones will be, least valuable, but will also give weak stats, with uncommon, rare, and legendary ones being the best as they give more stats but ultimately more radiation. Now, stalkers don't come into the zone only to wear artifacts but also to sell them. Now, my biggest advice is don't sell artifacts right away. Reason number 1 would be that artifacts can still be useful in situations where you need protection against something specific. Now, even though maybe you don't have enough radiation protection against it, but equipping it for a few minutes when you need it won't do you that much harm, and your suit, well, depending on rad protection, should keep that accumulation from happening too fast, but it will still happen. It's not going to stop it, especially at the start of the game. Now, in Call of Pripyat, for example, I was selling artifacts to ecologists or, well, scientists, as they were known to pay the full price for those artifacts, and when it comes to other traders, well, they're going to be buying those artifacts from you for pennies, so don't waste that, as later on in the game, those artifacts can be useful for you or your wallet when you find the right trader. Now, ecologists are usually found in Yantar in one of their bases, so wait until you get there before selling anything. Stalker 2 has a bunch of artifacts, and going to look for them is great because you never know which one you're going to get, either a common one or maybe a full-on legendary one, which is going to be amazing. There will be more artifacts at the same type of anomalous field, so you should always go back to it and collect everything you can. Don't stray away from using them. Later in the game, enemies you fight will be significantly stronger, and if you're not using them, you'll find yourself in situations with significant disadvantage. To add more containers to your suit, you have to visit a technician that can upgrade it, or, well, find a suit which has more pouches on it. At start, you will only begin with 1 slot, so combining artifacts can be tricky. I would wait until you have 2 slots, and then, if you have an artifact which gives you radiation protection, the second one which gives you other buffs, then you can mix and match them for your build. So get out there and find those artifacts, as they are one of the most important parts of the game, and it can also be a lot of fun when you get a really good one. And this is everything for today. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated with everything Stalker 2, subscribe today and like this video and join our community on Twitter and Discord. Huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters, and for the time being, get out of here, Stalker.